Thanks for joining me. Today we're going to be tying a yellow dancer. So the hook I have in the vise is a size 8 Kamasan B175, and the thread I'm going to be using today is Vineyards Yellow in 8/0. So this is just a pretty good wee general all-round rainbow trout lure. It's used quite a lot of different places. It's fairly well known, catches a lot of fish. I just thought I would share this one with you today. So we catch on behind the bead, forming up a bit of a head just to secure the bead. I'll do there just to stop it sliding down your shank, and then follow on down, tight touch and turns just somewhere between the point and the barb. A wee bit more. That'll do us there. Trim off our thread. So for the tail, I'm going to be using some of this white Marabou. I just picked off a feather, nice long fibres, stripped off all the scruff at the bottom, and then what you want to do is just tear off 1.5 inches or 2 inches wide of the fibres. Just pull them off, gather all the tips up, just make sure there's nothing broken in there, pull all the broken bits out. So for the length of the tail, we'll aim for 1.5 to 2 times the length of your shank. So just set it over the top of the shank. A few loose turns, just make sure you're happy with the length, the way everything's lying, and then tighten down in. Just bringing your thread up towards the bead every now and again, just if you're pulling your Marabou round, bring it back up onto the top of your shank. So I'm just going to trim off the waist here, nice and tight, trying to get it down into a bit of a taper towards your bead, and then tidy everything up. There we go. So just for the rib here, we're going to be using some medium silver wire from Semprefli. Just pull off 6 or 8 inches of that. Catch it in. Just bringing your thread back down, tying your rib in nice and tight. Just bringing your thread down to back where you start it in your tail. There we go. So for the body material, I'm just going to be using a few strands of this pearl Krinkle flash. I have a few strands here already pulled out. I'm just going to double them over a bit. It's just not quite the original pattern, but that's one I found it's worked alright for me, so I'm happy enough to share it with you today. So we catch that in and just bring your thread back up towards your bead again. So take your flash that you've tied in for your body, and we're going to wind this the same way as our thread. So just making sure we're overlapping all the time, so there's none of the thread showing through. Just with the tying in the bands with the different strands, it forms a nice quite wide piece of material. It's pretty good, easy enough to work with. So once you've got that up to your bead, 3 turns of thread to catch it down, and just trim off. Set that to the side for the next fly. So for the hackle, I'm going to be using this fluorescent yellow saddle. So I've picked off one of the one of the hackles towards the tail. Nice wide fibres. And again, just at the stalk, clear off a bit of the fluff. And then I like to just trim everything out of the way that you don't need. It's just less to get in the way. And then we're going to catch it on. Just catch it on by the stalk. And then, not sure where my hackle pliers have gone to, so we'll just work this one with hand. So we're going for 2 tight turns behind the bead, and then gradually work down your shank. Towards the tail of your fly. And then once you're down at your tail, you want to take your rib and bring it back up the fly, just weaving it in between the hackle fibres. If you find it's trapping anything down, just bring it back, weave it back and forth. Basically, you don't want to catch any fibres down, you just want it to secure your stalk. There we go. And then up to your bead. And again, a couple of turns of thread over the top just to secure it. Go for a few more. And nice tight turns around the back of the thread. A couple on the other side. And then you can either cut it off with the scissors or just wiggle it and worry it off there. And again, we have the tail end of the hackle that we've palmered. You can either trim it off with your scissors, or it's well tied down with a wire, so it should just pick off nice and tight. You're just checking your hackle to make sure there's not too many fibres trapped down, if any. If there is, you could probably get your dubbing needle in and tease them out a bit, but that's looking pretty good. I'm reasonably happy with that. Now we're ready for the whip finish. So rather than varnish this time, I'm just going to use a little bit more of this Gulf resin. Just bring out a wee dot of that. Coat the thread just with a little bit. It doesn't need very much. Pull your fibres back. Wrap a few bits on. There's a bit of a blob starting there, so we'll peel that off with our dubbing needle. Just clean that off. And whip finish. 4 or 5 turns is plenty. It should pull right down into your varnish. Trim off our waste, our thread. Oh, torch isn't, bad connection in that torch. There we go. And then just hit it with a UV torch for 5 or 6 seconds, working it around everywhere. There we go. And there we have Yellow Dancer Rainbow Trout Fly. Like I said earlier, great fly for throughout the season. Just about, we'll take fish just about any lake. Always worth sticking on for a go. Thanks a lot for watching. Hope you enjoyed it.